Nothing in my life has ever been as addicting to me as writing. I've always enjoyed the challenge, and I've enjoyed how much it's helped me make sense of my own mind.
First and foremost, if you stay true to who you fucking are, you can have a very, my language around it is like a delicious life, you know, where you're thriving inside out in all the ways, right? And staying true to who you are, if you are creative, like you don't have to deviate from that, but you have to have a strong spirit.
I hate people taking credit for other people's stuff. And so that's all AI is you're taking credit for other people's stuff because that's been trained on other people's stuff. And it really rubs me the wrong way, and it feels like a deliberate attack on the true artist. If I have to die on the battlefield of being anti-AI, that's what's gonna happen.
I don't sell easy. I don't know easy. And I'm not also selling a life of suffering, but a life that you can stand in self-respect with is that life where you've made true moves. I'm not saying every move is gonna be the greatest thing that ever fucking happened to you. You're gonna take punches, but at least it was your genuine fucking decision.
Real talk, real wisdom. All heart, all in. This is the Roxanne Show.
Social media, again, it was kind of like, it was really a game for me early on just to see how good I was as a writer and what I could resonate, make resonate with people. And it kind of just, I mean, even my first book, fucking History, that sold so well, was a joke. I mean, it was kind of me just like wanted to tell stories in really funny, ridiculous ways and get away with it. And I self-published it because I didn't need a publisher. I didn't care. And it took off, and I sold the rights to it. And it really almost, I mean, even the Captain moniker itself was a joke.
Yeah.
Like everything was kind of me just like playing around, and things just took off. It was never intentional. I never tried to create like this personal brand for myself, as people say. And I truly feel like society fell apart the moment we started referring to our personalities as a personal brand.
Ugh.
I don't think anyone has a personality anymore online. It's very hard to find people that do.
It's interesting, social media. I was thinking about that on the drive here, Instagram specifically, because there is this part of it that can be great. For example, Matt, best friend, how this is happening here, or even how I discovered your work. Like that's reality. Like it's brought, one of my very best friends, who's also my doctor, like, through social media. So there's that positive side of it. Also, there's this other part that we didn't have growing up, where I'm an artist, I'm a creator, I can put something out, self-express, put it out into the world. I don't need anyone's fucking permission to do it or anything like. So there's that part of it that's really cool. How you can impact lives, that part of it's really cool. There's this whole other part. I mean, a lot of what you just shared. And then this is the part that I don't like. I grew up very anti the popular, like I don't like that shit. I don't like hierarchy. I'm very human in that way, and I've never been someone, so even my past career, I think one of the reasons why I was able to get to the top 1%, not just because of, my makeup skills, is because I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be irreverent. I can respect great art, great, people's work ethic and the things that they do, but I don't look up to you like you're better than. And people can feel that, especially high profile individuals. Like energy is my first language. I can fucking read it very crispy. And people can feel when you're that person that's like, you know what I mean?
Most of those people want to be treated like a regular person.
Exactly.
There's a select few who like being bowed down to, and they're the nightmares that everyone talks about. They're awful to work with.
Right.
But for the majority of those individuals, they lack true friendship in their life, and they lack true connection because of their status. And I've found that way because I have some friends that are in positions like that. When you can just connect with them on a regular level, that is how you can break into an industry, honestly, because you're not playing the game, and too many people try and play that game.
Yes.
And it ends up just biting you in the ass.
Yeah, it's not cute, and it's
annoying. I hate it myself when it happens to me, and I'm a nobody. When I used to tell people for a long time, I would tell people I don't need fans, I need friends, because I would have people I knew from high school or people from earlier in my life that would treat me differently when they saw me. And a lot of my even some of my close friends started calling me, captain more than Kyle. And I would always tell them, like, I don't need fans. Like, I need friends. I'm Kyle. Like, don't call me that. I always correct them because it just felt it felt dirty in a sense.
I understand that. I
think a lot of my, disenchantment with social media comes from me always grappling with the idea of having pseudo fame. It's never felt comfortable to me. I mean, there's times, obviously, everyone loves having their ego patted a bit. There's times when it is nice, but for the most part, it always made me feel, insincere in my relationships with people, and I was always pretty guarded about where it was or where it was going, especially new people in my life. I've had a hard time even now I have a hard time making new close friends. Most of my friends are people I've known from high school or my early 20s.
Because you just don't trust them?
Yeah, for the most part, or maybe I just don't trust myself.
That you said that.
I think it's a bit of both.
Unpack that for me. You're hitting on something that I talk about.
I don't like feeling like relationships are transactional.
Yes.
And I can find myself falling into that sometimes with people where I start to think, oh man, they could help me get here, help me get there. And it's a hard thing to remove from your psyche when you're a creator for a living, because even though you say we don't need permission and stuff, you still want your work to be heard.
Yeah.
It's still nice to create something that resonates, and it's still nice to create something that's honestly popular.
Totally.
I mean, financial stability is great. I've gone through huge waves of finances where I've had more money than I knew what to do with, and then I've gone through states where I had to sell my house because I didn't have money coming in.
Yep. And
so it's hard when you've had that financial anxiety, let's say, to not view some relationships as transactional. And it makes me feel inauthentic, and it makes me feel almost like I'm part of the problem at times. And so I think I've tried to not pursue friendships with people because I haven't wanted to turn into that. And so maybe I self-sabotage it up front. But it's just, it's something I'm aware of that I do.
It's
and
really
I think we all do. I think most people just aren't aware of it.
Awareness is huge. Metacognition is so important. Thinking about how you're thinking, noticing, that self-awareness, but even that next level of self-awareness where you can actually witness yourself. Like, why did I decide to like that post? Or why did I do this? And not from a place of curiosity, not judgment, right? You're really trying to understand yourself, your psychology, like what is this about, right? It's so important to do that, especially if authenticity matters to you.
Well, that's all my writing.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's why you're here.
My problem, I have this problem. I was talking with my girlfriend this morning about it. I actually regret being so open online at this point. At this point in my life, because I feel very exposed at times, and it's the opposite of what I ever wanted for my career. Because starting out, again, like being anonymous was a like you say, it was a key tenet for me in my work, and I enjoyed it, and I kind of evolved along with it. And I'll have periods of time where I'm like, God, I wish I was still totally anonymous. I wish I had picked a better pen name that you can actually, write some real books under, not some fucking joke name. And I wish I'd done my career a bit differently. But then at other times, when you talk to someone who tells you how much your work is meant to them, you're like, all right, this is why I did that. There is a sense of almost pride you can take in being willing to shed your own skin to help someone else feel comfortable in theirs.
Yes.
And so there are moments where I feel great about it, and I'm totally fine with it. But then I have moments where I'm just like, man, I want nothing more than to be a ghost. Like, I just want to be forgotten. I want to turn in a manuscript every year and have no one know where I am for the next year.
Well, what's the most bothersome part of you when you're in that mode? Like, what is it?
I think it's when you start to outgrow what you've revealed about yourself. Oh. And that's probably where I'm at right now. And it's something for the past maybe 2 or 3 years that I've struggled with, because what I used to do no longer works for me. It doesn't feel, to use the word again, it doesn't feel authentic to my life now. But it's what people started to expect of me, or it's what people resonated with.
Okay.
And so it's hard for me to move past that. And I get tired of constantly sharing my journey, per se. Another word I think is overused.
Yeah.
Because I just want to live it before I talk about it. And, I have like a very active voice on Substack where every week I sometimes feel obligated to discuss my current happenings in my life. And I just don't want to do that. a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But then by the end of it, I usually feel pretty good. But I'm just in this weird state in my career. It's hard to pinpoint, but I just want change. I want change really badly in my personal life, in my professional life. And I want to try and remind myself of what I originally sought out to do. And that was, create at a very high level, but not need the credit for it. To be able to be behind the scenes and still have a very regular life that no one really needs to know anything about.
I understand that love for me, I frame it as like, I love privacy.
Yeah.
I've always been that way. I'm open, but that doesn't mean I'm bringing you in my fucking house.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do that, and if you can't relate to me as much, well, I don't give a fuck then. It's like, because there's just some
The thing I've learned, though, not to cut you off, but the thing I've learned, it just hit me. The thing I've learned about, I write better, though, when I'm really open. And I know that. And so when I am guarded, my work's not as good. And so I think just me being a real deviant, per se, for fantastic creative work, I'm almost willing to sacrifice myself for the sake of the end product, knowing that my writing will be better if I will lay on the sword, or if I will reveal more than I'm comfortable with. And I've recognized that that discomfort can create some of the best work.
So then that maybe is your push-pull.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like you...
I just want good work. That's my problem, is I just want good work.
That's my problem.
Yeah, that's my problem, is I want everything to be better than it was before. When I was in advertising, there's this saying, you're only as good as your last idea.
Yeah.
And I live my life by that, unfortunately, a lot of the time, where I just want everything to be better. I want everything to progress, and I want everything I write to sound better than what I wrote the day before. And a lot of the time it requires me to go into places of discomfort, and then afterwards I'm like, God, I wish I could have figured out a way to have done that without revealing that. So I think that's probably what more of it is I wish I could find ways to satiate my creative lust without feeling like I have to put so much of myself out there to do so. And it's just, it doesn't work, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Like one of my favorites, if not my favorite writer, is Anais Nin. Yeah. Because her soul and my soul they're fucking sisters. Like, I just get her. And obviously she shared so much of her life beyond anything that I would want to share,
Yeah.
And I'm not guarded, and I'm just very clear that, like,
It's uncomfortable.
It's not even that. It's not interesting for me. Like, there's some things that are so sacred to me that I just don't even think about, this is for you, world, because this is for me,
Well, that's probably me. I'm probably too self-sacrificing in that sense.
Yeah. Well, I think you've associated good work with going into that
Discomfort.
part of you.
Yeah.
And so how do you step away from
If it doesn't hurt to put it out there, it's not worth putting it out there.
If I'm not bleeding.
It's the same way. It's the same way with a joke. If it doesn't cut a little bit, it's not a good joke. And so I think I'm probably just the same way with everything. I mean, you talk about, your favorite author. I really have always resonated with Mark Twain, almost to the point that I wish I didn't, because he was a pretty cantankerous, cranky man. And he made a lot of very ill-advised business decisions, which I also have done. And so it's hard to respect him so much and then see all the flaws and then recognize them in myself and be like, God damn it, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? I need to find a way to be less Twain. And it's like subconsciously, I don't even mean to do it. It just happens.
Yeah. It's like, it's part of...
It's just the writer's curse, to play out that cliche.
What's happening with your book right now that you've been working on for 2 years?
It's being shopped around right now.
Oh, okay.
It started as a ghostwriting project. It's not even my book. I was going to write the memoir for an individual whose story I felt needed to be told, and I put so much of myself into it, it changed to a co-author agreement, because I've written 100% of the book. But, it's his story. He lived it. I had to write it, and so I think the 50-50 is very fair on the back end, and it's by far the best work I've ever done.
Yeah.
It's my first real book, in my opinion. Every other thing I've done is more of a booklet or, like I said, a kind of a joke that ran off the rails. But it's been hard to do what I consider my best work and not have it received. Because it's been the shopping process for 8 months. And my other books sold in like a week, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Because I had a name for myself as the captain.
Yeah.
And so it was easy for publishers to look and go, oh, he's got a large following, we should publish his work. But since pivoting to my real name, I almost am starting from the ground up, essentially, in my...
Really? Even though you still have the community online?
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, I don't have proven sales as Kyle Creek.
Oh, shut the fuck up. I
It's
can't.
the truth. I literally, me changing my name was more of an issue than people believe.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, it's almost like I had to burn down my prior reputation and start over. And I mean, J.K. Rowling experienced that when she started ghostwriting under a different name. I can't remember what, it's like Robert something. And her first book that came out sold terribly until they revealed that it was J.K. Rowling, and then the book sold like 100,000 copies in a day.
Wow.
You know, once you have a name for yourself in the literary space, publishers want you to stay in that lane. And also they want you to stay in the lane that you know. Like if you sell a lot of history books, they want you to keep writing history books. And I despise doing the same thing over and over again more than almost anybody. And it's something my agent has told me is part of my part of what has made my career trajectory very unique is the fact that every book I've done is in a different lane.
Yeah.
You know, I did a history book, and then I did children's books, then I did like satirical books, then I did technically what is a self-help book, which makes me feel gross. And so every book I do is in like a different lane, and so every time I have to like pivot the way that I'm presented to publishers. And I self-published a lot for a while until, I mean, self-publishing has its drawbacks too. Everyone thinks you can just self-publish a book and take off, but there's something about having a book in a physical store and having a literary team behind you that can really help you progress your career. And so at some point I had to bite the bullet and start accepting traditional publishing.
What about hybrid though?
Still, I mean, there's something about having when you're with a big publishing house, it changes the way you're perceived in the literary space.
Yeah.
And it's just a little bit of the game you have to play.
I can hate that though.
It's the world.
And it's funny. Well, but this is so interesting to me because, you know, I have 2 books, right? One I'm almost done writing, and then the other one I thought that one's going to come first, but then I had to switch it up. I'm like, no, it's this one first. And I'm going to go hybrid with this one. I'm clear on that because I don't want anybody fucking with my book. No. This is a transmission. This is not like...
You get a good editor, though, they won't fuck with it.
Yeah.
I've never had editors change much of my books because I have a very distinct voice. I've always had very easy editing process with everybody.
That's awesome.
It's never been hard. It's just been like grammatical stuff or honestly suggestions that did make the book better.
Yeah.
But I've never struggled with someone stripping my voice. And for the most part, if you land with the right house, the right editor, they won't strip your voice because that's the reason they want your book.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear.
So I've never struggled with that. I think people that have that reservation, I think it's kind of it's not going to happen. If you're a good writer, it's not going to happen.
Okay.
If you're a bad writer, it'll happen because your work sucks already.
Yeah. Yeah, then you're not even... Well, I guess the thing for me... So I see... When you kind of zoom up, things are just changing rapidly right now. I mean, I think the whole landscape publishing, I think it's just changing gratefully. Because I think a lot of the old ways are just old.
It's out of touch.
Yeah, and
even now it's out of touch.
Explain.
It's a bubble.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people in the industry understand like the true zeitgeist of America or even culture in general. I think they tag along very well with whatever is current rage bait or a typical political belief. They piggyback, just like they want to piggyback off your social media fame.
Yes.
If you have a large social media following, you will do 99% of the marketing of your own book.
Right.
They will see that and be like, we don't have to have a marketing plan. Our marketing plan is that platform.
Right.
And so it's a very piggyback industry in the sense that I don't think they're not comfortable creating a new conversation until it's been accepted as a conversation widely already.
That part.
And I've struggled. That's one of the things I've struggled with. Because
yes.
I'm a boundary pusher by nature. And I mean, even my whole career trajectory was me identifying trends before they were trends. When I started putting my screenshots of my tweets on Instagram, nobody was doing that.
Rad.
No one was doing like the quote post.
Yeah.
It was everyone was doing the typical, here's my lunch, here's a crappy sunset through a filter. No one was doing the writing.
You're right. When I think about it,
no one was doing the writing first.
You were one of the first people, and I'm not just fucking saying that. I don't ever do that. But when I visually think back, your posts are the first that I saw.
At one point in my career, I feel like I was probably one of the top 10 writers on the internet because I was the only one doing that, and my stuff was getting ripped off left and right. Every single large meme account has blocked me because in 2016, 17, 18, I was calling every one of them out. I was getting my account shut down for cyberbullying. I was getting flagged by Instagram because I would just screenshot them ripping my work off, and I would just write a caption below it, and I would just rip them apart because everyone's plagiarizing my work. And I mean, that was I identified the potential of how shareable short, little captions could be in a photo form. And even now in my career, I feel like I see what's happening with social media. I see the asteroid coming. I'm like the dinosaur per se, and I see it coming, and I do think there's going to be a very hard pivot in the next year away from social media. I think social media is a snake eating its tail at this point, and it's going to continue down that path. And so I kind of want to get off the ship before it sinks, per se, in the sense that I'm not going to make some post saying I'm leaving social media and then come back in like a month, like everyone fucking does. But I am putting 100% of my focus on work off of social media.
You put a post out. I don't remember when it was. It wasn't that long ago, but it was, or maybe it was. It was something along the lines of, you have all these ideas for the books and this, that, and then it's like you spent all this time creating for social media.
Yeah, I think I wrote that in one of my Substacks.
Was it okay? Maybe.
Yeah,
I'm subscribed. I love Substack, actually. I think it's
even that's going to become a beast that eats itself. It already is.
Well, fuck. I mean, at least right now, it's like it's just where people go deeper.
The plagiarism's rampant on that site.
That's so true.
And for it being a writing first site,
that's very true.
The fact that plagiarism goes that unchecked is pretty wild.
Yeah, that's true. I've seen it.
I've seen the same people post the same note 100 times. Because something goes viral, and so everyone else just posts it.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that
everyone
too.
else posted trying to get attention to their Substack. And the fact that happens on there is crazy to me.
Yeah.
That should be the one site where they somehow figure out a way to really,
sure.
whether you stamp them with pixels, I don't know the tech jargon, but if you find a way to make sure the original first use of that on Substack is, you should be able to somehow save that and then read through the data and delete the other ones. But
that's a good idea.
That is the site that needs to be putting plagiarism first. That should be, like, honestly, in my opinion, that should be their number one concern versus trying to make it more like Twitter or make it more like Instagram or make it, we don't need live Substack streams and stuff. You need to actually protect writing because that's what that site's supposed to be.
And literally, that was the word, just protect. Yeah, you're right. I agree with that. That's why I love it there, because as a writer, I get to publish my work. I get to, and people come in because they want to go deeper, right? It's not the Instagram, the quick hit. And so I love it. I mean, even just being on the platform, there's a different nervous system response that you feel, right?
Well, so even Substack, I feel like I was on top of the game with that because I had a paid newsletter in 2016. I built a Shopify site and I used a plugin to take subscription models. And I had a newsletter. Awesome. I had a newsletter from 2016 to 2019.
Wow.
And that was before Substack was even created. I was trying to monetize my work in that way, and as much as I hate the word monetize too, it was an opportunity for me to pay bills.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I have a pretty good voice online. I bet if I took longer form writing into an email, because you have that 2,200 character limit on Instagram, I was like, I think I can do something with it. And so I did like a Dear Abby column, but it was called Dear Captain, and it was people writing in, and I would answer them very lengthy, just like the Dear Abby style would.
That's rad.
And I did that 4 years before Substack even.
Why'd it go away?
I got tired of being an advice giver.
Yeah.
Honestly, like
it's a lot, I'm sure.
That's another thing that I thought it would be really fun and kind of a joke, and then it took off, and I had people writing me really dark, really heavy, serious shit.
Yeah.
That I understand they needed someone to listen, and it feels pretty good to write a stranger on the internet, but like stuff that I'd read and I'd be like, I don't know if I should call the police and report this, because this is like stuff I shouldn't be hearing. And so it became so emotionally heavy for me, and I felt so responsible that it ate me alive.
Yeah.
And so I had to kill it. I couldn't do it.
What does writing give you that nothing else does in your life?
Purpose, to use that word, overuse that word too. Nothing in my life has ever been as addicting to me as writing. And I was talking to someone last week about this. I've always had addictions in my life. I got really into opiate use like in my late teens. And then I was a pretty heavy drinker for a long time. I got into a lot of recreational drug use in my 20s. But the only consistent addiction that I've always had is writing. I've always enjoyed the challenge, and I've enjoyed how much it's helped me make sense of my own mind. I feel like my head's fairly chaotic, and being able to write helps me. Like if I don't write for a couple days, I start to feel different. Like I physically, mentally feel like a different person.
Yeah.
Like I feel like too much is building up inside me.
Totally get that.
And so that's why a lot of the writing I do too, like people don't even see. I just write to write. I mean, I have probably half a dozen unfinished manuscripts on my desktop of books that I've gotten pretty far into, 30,000, 40,000 words, like to where I could probably turn it into a book in another couple months. But I'm like, I got what I needed out of it. I'll revisit it maybe if it feels right again, but like I got what I needed writing it, and I just kind of leave it on my desktop.
What kind of books are those?
All sorts of stuff. I started like my own memoir at one point, kind of going through and unpacking my childhood. I've started novels. I've started, subsequent kind of satirical books of my view of the world. And I get to a point where I feel like I got what I needed, and then I move on.
Yeah.
And it's weird. It's odd. I think it's odd how much I obsess about writing. I actually think it might be an issue in some points in my life. No, I really do obsess about it to a point that I feel it's unhealthy.
Okay.
And I've only met a handful of people that I can relate to at that level. And one of them is my writing partner now that we're working on a TV show together. And then my mentor in advertising, he gets it at that level. Me and him used to joke when I was working in advertising. We were going to say, we're going to start a writing school. And for the first week, all you do is dig post holes. You just dig post holes and build a fence all day long, because that's easier than writing.
You're just fucking trying to Mr. Miyagi them.
Yeah, it's easier than writing. It is, though. Like,
that's amazing.
It's easier than being that obsessed with your work.
Yeah.
I actually find physical labor very cathartic for that reason. Like
Yeah.
I enjoyed when I had a house, even though it was kind of miserable in Florida. I enjoyed planting trees and putting in fences. It was a break for me. Like I actually would do that to turn my brain off.
I get it. Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't remember what your question was, but yeah,
Well, it was.
I'm way too obsessed with my work.
But what does that mean? When you say obsessed, I mean, that can mean a lot. Is it like perfectionism? Is it I can't stop writing? Is it, I mean, I get that you just said if I don't write for a few days, and I relate to that so deeply. But I just want to pick on that.
All of the above.
Yeah. 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 Okay.
It's all of the above, and it's the idea that I have to outdo myself. It's always like the next idea has to be better than the last, and that's why I've switched lanes so many times in my career. And I think it's kind of an unhealthy obsession, honestly. I think if I could find a style or an avenue that was just like, all right, I'm just going to write history books, I'd probably be happier, but I don't think I'd be as fulfilled. And I think that's what's always attracted me to writing novels too. And I honestly don't think I'll ever write another nonfiction book.
Oh, yeah?
I don't think I can do it. It feels too restrictive. It feels like there's handcuffs on the mind when you're dealing with too many facts and figures.
Okay.
I honestly right now don't know when I'll write another book. I thought I was going to, but the more I thought about it, it doesn't feel right. I feel like I need to move into screenplays because my mind's pretty visual.
Yeah.
And I feel like that might be the space for me for a while. And if I do come back to writing, it'll be novels.
So I trained jiu-jitsu. I've trained for a long time. One of the things, if not the thing I love most about jiu-jitsu, and I think for me the same goes with writing, is that you'll never master it. Never master it.
No, you can always get better. Yeah.
And that's really attractive.
It's like chess. You can always find a way to play chess better.
Yeah.
And there's always someone who's going to beat you at some point.
Yeah.
It's just it's not
right.
If but when.
So
there's writing like jujitsu, there's too many ways to approach it. Like, as many moves as you have or as many techniques as you learn, writing's the same way. And there's a billion different possible combinations of how to use a certain setup. That's the beauty of words, is there's infinite possibilities in how to layer those things. And so you're never going to master it. You can just get better at it.
Right.
And that's probably what's always attracted me to it too, is it's something that I don't feel like I can ever win. Where in some ways I kind of feel like I already won social media. Like I already kind of figured it out early in my career and I got what I needed out of it. And I'm telling you, it's really hard for me to want to continue on those platforms. Like it's something that I do more so out of responsibility, because I feel like there's people that look to me to hear certain things, but also my career. But man, if I could just blow it all up, I would. I kind of feel like social media is like eating a food you're allergic to, but it tastes good. Like
you're gonna get bloated, but you're still like
you know it's inherently bad for you, but there's just enough of an upside that you'll still engage with it.
Yeah, it's like you have to find the right relationship with it, and it's really tricky for all of us in different ways, because look, putting out my book, the more eyes that I can share the book with, the better. And at the same time, you put this, you actually, like, I'm gonna fucking read this one. Hold on. No, this one's so fucking good. No, it's funny, you can't see what happens when someone's reading your shit.
I don't want to see it. I'm gonna look down at the floor.
Okay, I get it, but like, the fuck? Oh, did I not fucking take a picture of that one? Oh man, okay. I thought I did. Basically, it was like you're basically talking about being disgusted with just how we both agree. I don't like the word content, so let me just get that out of the way. But now it's like you have to be this content machine.
Oh, is where I talk about being a content creator as a treadmill?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I think everyone's been fooled into believing that being a content creator is a source of freedom when it's like the ultimate form of handcuffs. Because as soon as it's a treadmill, and as soon as you get off, everything stops moving. Yeah. I don't think there's anything freeing about being a content creator for a living. I can't think of anything worse than these people who run around with their kids and record every second of their kid's day. I think as a child, that would be awful. If I was like the husband of a wife doing that, I would be severely fucking annoyed. Even if it was making the family a lot of money, which some of those YouTube channels, let's be honest, they do. That is not a way to live your life. It sounds to me like absolute hell on earth. Yeah. And I think there comes a time when you have to play the long game in your life and not just your career, and understand that what are you sacrificing now for money that 20 years from now is going to be something that you're going to have to unwind. And I've always been pretty good at playing the long game in my career. It's the reason why I've never posted a sponsored post. I've never had anyone pay me money to post anything ever. And I've turned down vast amounts of money in the past, particularly when it was like a big deal in like 17, 18. It was a big deal to have a large following. Yeah. And I got offered a lot of money to post crap. And I would always tell people, no, like this platform started as a way for me to express my opinions, and it's going to stay that way. And even when I've gone through times where I've had, like financial strain because I made the wrong decision, when those offers have come to me, it's a struggle to say no. But I know that if I don't, I'll always think about it. I'm like, man, remember that time 5 years ago and I sold my soul for some bullshit post? And it would bother me. And I'd almost rather struggle and deal with financial stress than have to feel the shame of what selling out really feels like. Totally. Like actually selling out.
Yeah, no, I really relate to that. Fuck that. And I love that. That's integrity. And I think, so what I feel when you're speaking is your spirit, which I feel resonance with, which is that it's the free spirit. It's like, I'm not here to be your puppet. I'm not going to do that. And because also, I actually care about how I feel about myself. That's how I, the psychological fucking witch over here. I'm like, you care about how you feel about yourself. You don't want to look back and be ashamed that you went against yourself. You went against what's real for you. And I think that's rare especially now where, it's more available, basically. More of these kind of opportunities are available to people. So it's a lot easier to be swayed into that. You have to have a very strong sense of self and connection to your spirit. I say that, it's like my heart, because I think that's the truth.
There's nothing wrong with it. I believe in all that stuff.
Yeah, thanks. No, yeah, I'm just deepening it. It takes a certain kind of spirit to stand with yourself, especially, and I really respect you for that, if you're going through some financial, it could be the easiest thing to be like, fuck it, you know what, I gotta pay this or whatever.
I think that's probably what I'm grappling with now that you say it, caring about how I feel about myself, because when I started my foray into online, I had a very distinct vision for my career, and I feel like I departed from that. That idea to remain anonymous and to create a life for myself that could allow me to not be a public figure was like the goal.
Yeah.
I didn't want to become recognized for anything other than my work. And that's probably why for a long time I was okay putting, a moniker on my books, because it was still my work, even though it wasn't my name on it. But then it got to the point where it was hard to separate myself from that character. And so I'm kind of going through that process now where I have to remember why I got into this, what I wanted to do. And that's probably where a lot of my inner tension's coming from, is this idea that I went too far one direction with it. Now I got to pull it back and figure out how to get back on track with what Kyle actually wants to do. And so that's, now you say it, I could see that being something that is causing what I'm dealing with right now, as far as my kind of feeling lost in my career, knowing where I really want to go next.
This is not positivity. It's what I really feel. But I think that's kind of exciting, because it's like, you're not going to stay here. That's just not possible. So,
just stay in the room, you mean, right? Because we're going to finish up.
Stay in that place of I'm lost.
Oh, I know I'm not. Yeah, limbo's always temporary. It's just hell when you're in it.
No, totally. And so what's exciting is like, well, fuck, what's around this fucking corner for you? No,
I feel that excitement. I feel excited about my work that I haven't had in years.
Yeah,
I think the last time I felt this excited about what I was doing is when I published the first fucking history.
Yeah.
That was 2016. It's almost 10 years ago. Because that was my first, I was like, dude, I'm really doing this. I'm really putting a book out. Like, what the fuck? Let's see how this is received. And it was a big deal, and it did really fucking well. And it was really cool for me. I remember when it happened, I was like, this is crazy. Like, this book is selling, and it's self-published, and it's all me. It's just all going to me. And I haven't felt that excited about working on any other project since then, with the exception of the book that I spent 2.5 years on. I was really excited about that for the first year, and then it became very much a chore because it was just taking so fucking long. And if that was in a point now where it was starting to come to fruition, I knew people were going to read it soon, I would be excited about it, because I know it's the best. Without a doubt, I know it's the best work I've ever done. I not even a question of a shred of denial that is the best I could have done at the time as a writer.
And it's still in the process of being, because you said it's being
Yeah, and so for right now, it's just something I can't think about, because I'm so emotionally invested in it. It just brings me more pain right now to think about it, because I spent so long on it, and I wish it was out there. But yeah, like what I'm doing now, I feel genuinely excited about it again, and I'm at the state again where I can work for long hours and just lose track of time, and I haven't had that for a while.
That's exciting. And so, well, yeah, because that was one of the things, like, doing one of my favorite parts about podcasting with guests. I do a lot of solo episodes. Is I really go into your world. I actually fell asleep last night watching you on a podcast, and
good, huh?
Yeah, it was really good.
What podcast?
Well, by the way,
what podcast was that?
Not Dead Yet.
Oh, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, it's interesting though. It's like, why did I click on that one? And you said something that was so powerful. By the way, I do that every night. That's my phone goes on red, so
you just fall asleep listening to boring talking heads.
Well, it's not boring to me. I'm an intellectual fucking nerd, I don't watch TV except UFC fights, So, yeah, I was falling asleep and I heard you say, and it was so fucking awesome. I was sharing it earlier, that it was something like I think somebody had asked you, like, if you weren't writing, what else would you be doing? You said, this is the part, there's nothing else I can see myself doing.
Still can't.
I know. And that part right there, first of all, I deeply resonate with, because this is just my sort of terminology around it, but I'm living my dharma. I'm I've been, again, doing this since I wasn't a writer. I was a girl I was a diarist, rolled ink to be with myself, to understand myself and how I'm kind of moving through the world. And now it's, I put it out there, but there's nothing else than this. Things will come from this, but this is it. So when you said that, I was like, fuck yeah, which is a very special place, because not a lot of people get there ever in life to be that, because it gives you clarity. I'm not saying it makes it easy, especially in the arts.
I think it makes it harder.
You think it makes it harder?
Yeah.
Because
whenever you care about something so deeply, you can be hurt. And because I care about my writing so much, it's very easy for me to be hurt by it. I had a conversation with my old man a couple months ago where I told him I almost wish I was cursed with mediocrity. And I meant it, because I feel so driven and so passionate about what I try to create that I wish I had the curse of being okay with life being mundane. Because at times when it's not coming to fruition the way I want, it's incredibly fucking painful. And I internalize it very deeply, and it reflects in my work too. You can read my work and see kind of pivots in the style I'm writing and what I'm going through at the time in my life, because I am a very authentic writer, to say. And I do wish I had a little bit of a mediocre spirit at times. And I mean, even back in it was March? No, it was April. I called my agent and told her I was done.
Oh, yeah?
I called my agent. I had a long call with her, and I said, I think I'm done. I don't want to write anymore. I don't want to do this. I'm tired of it. I think I'm going to hang up my hat, and I'm going to just figure out something else. And I legitimately started looking into going to school for landscape architecture, because that's like the other thing that it's a form of design. It's a form of creativity, and I've always enjoyed it. And my first job out of high school, I was working landscaping, digging ponds and putting in waterfall features and stuff, and I liked it.
Yeah.
And I told her, like, I was driving to Vegas to go to a friend's birthday, and I was driving from LA to Vegas, and I had a call with her for probably an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. And I told her, like, I'm fucking done with this. I can't do this anymore. I can't play this game. I can't jump through these hoops for publishers. This is not what I wanted to do with my career. And, she basically verbatim told me, she's like, Kyle, if you couldn't write, I would have dropped you. Like, she's like, you have to keep writing. If you couldn't write, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. So she kind of talked me off a ledge. But yeah, I'm telling you, like, the last couple of years have been really weird for me, especially with the emergence of AI, because I feel so deeply and profoundly proud to be a writer. I remember, like, in my 20s, my friends never going to bars, trying to, do what 20-year-old guys do. I love telling girls I was a writer. All my friends are like, oh, I'm a mortgage broker, or, oh, I work in a machine shop. And they're like, what do you do? I'm a writer. And they'd be like, because I don't look like a writer. I don't carry myself like you would think a writer would. And it was always really fun for me to surprise people in that way, and not have people realize, no, I actually get paid for my brain per se and my intellect, and not my size, and not, how hard I can swing a hammer. And I always loved that. And it was something that I was very proud of. And when I was able to afford my first apartment on a writer's salary, and I bought my first truck as a writer, it was a big fucking deal for me, because there's a small fraction of people that support themselves on a creative realm. And so it's something that I've always cared so much about. And to watch people gravitate so hard to AI, it's been like almost watching, it's like watching someone fuck your wife in front of you. Like, it's hard for me, because it feels like a deliberate attack in a certain way. And I've been very outspoken about AI for that reason, because I feel it's inherently wrong to try and take credit for something you didn't do yourself. And that's why I've always been such a huge proponent of calling out plagiarism when I see it. I hate people taking credit for other people's stuff. And so that's all AI is. is you're taking credit for other people's stuff because that's been trained on other people's stuff.
Yeah.
And it really rubs me the wrong way, and it feels like a deliberate attack on the true artists. And so I've always felt that if I have to die on the battlefield of being anti-AI, that's what's going to happen. Because like you said, I care too much about what I think of myself. And if I wrote something that AI had any, I've never even opened an AI app. I've never even typed.
Really?
I've never typed in the website. I've never
Wow.
used AI for anything.
Wow.
I've never used it for research. I've never opened it. I'm so against it.
Interesting. Okay.
And it might be my demise. It might be what makes me fall into obscurity. And if that's what happens, I'll become a landscape architect or something. But I'm perfectly, I've taken harder stances in my life than a stance on AI. And so I'm perfectly fine being anti it until if it consumes my career, it does. But I do feel that I think we're going through a phase right now where it's curiosity and everyone's really excited about it. Everyone's really hyped about it. And everyone's like, oh, AI is the future. In a lot of industries, it's going to be for sure.
Yeah.
But I think you're going to get to a point, I think society's going to get to a point where we're over questioning everything. Everything you see online now, you have to meet with an air of skepticism. Is it real or not?
Yeah.
And I think it's going to get to a point where people are going to get so fucking fed up with it. They're going to push really hard back to physical connection. And I already know, talking with people that work at Barnes & Noble, that the last 6 to 9 months, their sales have gone up significantly.
Yeah.
People are pivoting back to real books
Yeah.
and real stories written by old books that they knew were written before AI, like the books that you know are legit. I think there's going to be a pivot back to that. And I think there's going to be a huge pivot for live comedy,
Yes.
for music, for movies that you know have actual actors in them that didn't use AI.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big thing in the future, I think, to release a movie and say this has no AI.
Right.
I think it's something people are going to gravitate towards. And I think documentaries and real human stories are going to have a resurgence because we're going to get fed up with it.
And that's why you have to keep writing, and your voice is so important. That's one reason.
Well, I feel that way too. I feel like I do feel that at times where like I need to stay on course to be on the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
And it's why I do feel excited about pivoting more into screenplays, because I think that that's probably between that and, you know, everyone online thinking they're suddenly a life coach. I think if you can create a screenplay from the human mind that is truly cerebral, AI could never touch that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that's kind of where I'm trying to go with it, is you got to show what the human's capable of to convince people that the robots are bullshit.
I think also another reason why I think your work is really important. We've been fed this narrative for as long as I've been alive, close to 5 decades, not there yet, but we're looking at it. We've been fed this narrative that you're only lucky people get to create a lively, like, wealth and, you know, some kind of prosperous life, or even just fucking take care of yourself in the arts. Like a creative, you're a needle in the haystack. Like you're lucky. There's no money there. There's no opportunity, right? It's like, be realistic, right? I hate those fucking words.
Yeah.
Be realistic has buried so many incredible fucking dreams, artists, visionaries. And I feel like we're moving away from that. Yes, there's all kinds of things that we can point at, like we have, that aren't great. But I also think that there's a sort of new frontier and this awakening to, no, that's bullshit, actually. We've been fed that. We've been literally programmed to believe that that's not possible. And for sure, society has set things up to make sure that that is a reality, to make it as hard as it could be for creatives to thrive. You know, I was someone in high school, like, I didn't do great in school, not because of my capacity to learn. I'm self-taught in I've got an arsenal: neuroscience, biology, philosophy, art. And that all came after, you know, I was stitching, I was surfing, I was, you know, because systems like school just didn't work for someone like me, you know. I've always been a creative, and I stand with this. It's like also an it's you could see it, but also there's this intuitive part of me. Like, I feel like I'm ahead of my time. Like, hold on, girl, because they're not even ready yet. But you see what's happening, and you just got to stay true to you, which is the only thing that I know how to do and will ever do. So I'm built for this, right? But I understand that it's not easy. I know because I've lived the not easy. I live it every fucking day. But there is this change that's happening that is revealing the fallacy in that narrative. And I think you're a part of that, where, and especially, you've shared your hardships, a lot of them online, and especially, being a, writer, and then like just creating your livelihood. You're a father, you have bills to pay, and like, it's not easy doing what you're doing at all. But you are doing it. You've been doing it. You've obviously created success in many different ways, I think internally and externally. And I think what's exciting and what you've shared is also it's almost like you're just becoming, like, you've done a lot already, and full respect and credit to that. But like, what's in front of you is even more like, holy shit. And so I think it's important, your voice, your writing, because yes, to the AI, and everyone's going to sound the same anyways, and like your voice will just pierce through it, right? But also, this is really important to me. And it's not something I think about consciously every day when I get up to go do my thing. But I have thought about this deeply years ago, where it's like, no, I'm going to be proof. I'm going to be proof that, first and foremost, if you stay true to who you fucking are, no matter what, you can have a very, my language around it is like a delicious life, where you're thriving inside out in all the ways, right? And staying true to who you are. If you are creative, like, you don't have to deviate from that. You don't have to, but you have to have a strong spirit. You have to really fucking believe, because if you fall into the pick me category, and this is hard, I'm going up against, because most people like, pick me. That's a slippery slope, but yeah, so I really feel that with you, and this is again like part of the resonance, it's like the authenticity is very palpable. Like, it's the quote from Emerson, I love it, I botch it a little bit, but those who live truly see truly. So it's really easy for me to be like, oh yeah, this is not a facade. This is not a costume. This is not,
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm going to contradict what you're saying, though. I think the pendulum has swung too far.
Okay.
I think back in the day when it was told that you couldn't make a life in arts was wrong, but I think also this idea that everyone can do it is also wrong. I think the pendulum's gone too far the other way, because everyone wants it now and they want it fast. And we've convinced everyone they can become a content creator, or we've convinced everyone that they can do this and that, and they'll obviously do it with the help of AI. And I think that's also the wrong way to do it. I think you have to go through essentially the crucible of a creative to make a living as a creative. And it's not about being realistic, it's about being relentless. Writing's the only real job I've ever had. In my early college years, I worked at a prison, I worked at a warehouse, I worked landscaping, and then I got a job writing emails. And so the only non-physical job I've had is writing my whole life. And I was 22 when I started writing emails for a company. And I was making $32,000 a year. Still living at home. Couldn't afford to live on my own because I didn't get paid well as a writer. And my goal that whole time was, I need to find a way to make a living of this. Even if my goal at the time was to make $50,000 a year. I was like, if I can make $50,000 a year, I could get an apartment downtown, I could get myself a car, have enough money to go out with my friends on the weekends. And so I worked for probably 3 or 4 different companies, just going from basically an email writer to an email writer to an email writer. And that's all I wrote for, was like emails, newsletters. And I tried writing for the local paper. They wouldn't take my work. I tried writing for a couple local independent papers, magazines. They wouldn't take my work. And so I volunteered to write for one for fucking free. And I said, hey, I'll write reviews on local concerts that come to town. Just, you don't have to pay me. And that was the only people that allowed me to do it. So I was writing for free for a paper. And then I had been trying to get a job in advertising. I interviewed at every ad agency. This was in Salt Lake City, Utah. And I would get told multiple times, your writing's good, your resume's good, but you don't have ad experience. I'm like, well, how the fuck am I supposed to get ad experience? Like, you have to actually let me, give me some spec work. I'll write you a sample commercial. And one of them finally did. They're like, yeah, write us a sample commercial. One of our clients is a Chevy dealership, so write us a commercial for, say you're trying to sell a guy a Corvette. So I wrote a sample commercial, and it got me into the room. And the guy told me to my face, he said, listen, you're a really good writer, but we can't hire you because you have hand tattoos. And you won't present well to clients. We can't have you in a client room with hand tattoos. And I was just like, this is appalling. And at this point, I was probably 26, still living at home because I wasn't making money as a writer. And then I finally got it. This is my mentor that I talk about. The last agency I met with, he met me at a bar after work. He'd gotten off work. We met in a bar, and he asked me, he says, why do you want to do this? And I said, because I just want to make a living as a writer, and I know that advertising pays well. I'm just going to be honest. Like, I want to make a living at this, and I've interviewed with every ad agency here, and if you don't hire me, I'm going to say, fuck this, and I'm going to find a new career path. And he hired me on the spot because of that, because he said, you're the kind of guy that we need. You have just enough, I remember what he said. He said, you have just enough piss and vinegar in you that you're going to be really creative and you're not going to fuck this up. And I got $52,000 a year. That's what I wanted. I wanted to make $50,000. I got $50,000 a year for that salary. I got an apartment downtown. I went and bought a used truck. And I was like, this is the fucking life. And it was probably the most fulfilled I ever was as a creative.
That's awesome.
Was those 3 years from 26 to about 29.
Yeah.
When I was just a copywriter. I was a senior copywriter. And I loved it. All I did was write all day. I wrote commercials. I wrote ad copy. I wrote copy for boxes, drink labels, like just a whole different variety of clients. And I was so fulfilled as a creative. And on the side is when I started doing the Instagram, was during that time, because I was writing commercials and I would write jokes that clients thought were too crass for TV, so I would tweet them instead. And it started getting steam. And so then I started leaning into social media to where I would take my really good A grade observations and I'd tweet them instead of giving them to clients, because I figured, it was like casting pearls before swine at that point. And I'd be like, clients are going to say no to these anyway, so I'm just going to tweet them. And so Instagram started taking off for me, and then I started putting a lot of my focus on that. But at the same time, my advertising career took off. I got offered a job as a creative director, huge jump up from copywriter. I moved to Vegas, and then I moved to New York, and I was staffing an office in New York as a creative director. And this was all while I had this captain persona online. At the time, I had hundreds of thousands of followers. I wasn't making a dime on it except from the book sales. Mm-hmm. All my money was being made in advertising. And so Instagram was really fun for me because none of it affected my income. I could say whatever I wanted. I could be, as cantankerous as I wanted. I didn't have to worry about any of it. I didn't have an agent. I didn't have book deals. I was self-published, and I fucking loved it. And then I got to a point where I decided to leave advertising because I wanted to pursue writing full time, and that's when it stopped being fun. I got an agent almost immediately, though. She sold my book. My agent's great, and I made a lot of money that first year, but just my whole enjoyment for social media, and that was 2019, it just changed.
Yeah.
Because it was no longer just a creative outlet. It was now like, oh shit, this is make or break it for me. Yeah. Everything I do, and now I have like, an agent that could potentially drop me, or I have all this stuff could happen. And then my first real published book came out in the middle of COVID. Couldn't do a book tour, couldn't do any promotion for it. I was very clearly not buying into the zeitgeist of what was going on. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh my God, what did I do? Why did I leave my advertising career? Like, I had a really good career. I could have continued, but I went all in on my writing. And ever since then, it's been a fucking battle to get books published, to make a living. And I've never yet touched what I was making that last year in advertising. When I was in New York making a fat salary as a creative director, I've never made that much as a writer.
Yeah.
And it's been hard as hell. And so to see people think they can do it with AI, or to hear people think, oh, I can be a writer, we can all be writers, it's like,
no, and I'm with you on that.
You fucking can't.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
And you have to go through a real fucking test to make sure you're built for it.
1,000%. And so I'm with you all the way. So we're actually not disagreeing there. It's I speak on behalf of the true ones, the ones who are really.
Oh, I understand. I'm just thinking it swung too far. I think somewhere in the middle is where the pendulum needs to go.
Yeah.
I think we went from the point where you couldn't make money at it to now convincing everyone they can.
I get
when the
that.
reality is, it's somewhere in the middle where a select few can, but it's very, very, very fucking hard.
Yeah, totally.
And Mark Twain would hate me for using the word "very" right there because that was his least favorite word. But it's incredibly fucking difficult to make a living as a writer.
Yeah.
And it's not for everyone. It's not. I know people that are fantastic writers that have asked me for advice on what they should do, and I tell them to keep their job. Keep your job. Keep your job. If you can write on the side, trust me, it'll be a lot more fun.
Yeah.
You know, and I think I'm probably on the precipice now of a next big leg up in my career. I kind of feel like I've been crawling through the mud long enough for the past couple of years that I've really been forced to hone my craft, and I'm without a doubt a much better writer now than I was 5 years ago or even 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think I'm probably at the point now where I'm gonna probably start seeing some reward come from it. I think I wrote this recently on Substack. I'm in a point right now that I call the doldrums of your dreams. You know, if you're familiar with the doldrums are, it's when you're like sailing and you hit a patch of no wind.
Okay.
And it was like the most devastating thing that could happen to you back in the day. You know, when you're exploring between countries and navigating with nothing but the stars, if you get a patch of dead wind, you could just die on your ship.
Yeah.
You know? So the doldrums were like everyone's greatest fear. And I think I'm in the doldrums right now where I've gone so far from home that I can no longer return, but I haven't reached my destination. And so I'm sitting right now on the boat just waiting for a gust of wind, and all I can do right now is just keep myself alive long enough for it to happen. And I think a lot of people get there in life. You get a point where the amount of work you're putting in is not even getting close to matching the reward.
Yeah.
Like you're working so fucking hard, not seeing anything from it.
That.
And that's when people quit.
Right.
And they succumb to the doldrums. And I think I'm at a point now where I can palpably feel the wind starting to shift. And I think if I can just continue on for a little longer, it's going to push me to that ultimate destination that I always wanted for my career. It's just been a absolute fucking bitch to get there.
Believe in yourself?
Yeah, I have to. Every creator has to. You have to have almost a blind belief.
Yeah, okay.
Or you won't do anything.
Has that strengthened?
I don't think it's strengthened. I think I used to believe in myself more, but I think a lot of it was probably just arrogance. I think I'm a better writer than I've ever been, but I don't know that I believe I'm as unstoppable as I have felt in the past. And I think a lot of it's just circumstances. In the past, I've felt very unstoppable. Like I could walk into a room and just John Wick everybody if I wanted. And I don't feel that way right now, but I think it's probably good. I think it's a humbling experience I needed to go through. But I definitely feel that there's nothing I can't write, honestly.
Yeah.
I think anything that came on my plate or any opportunity that presented itself to me creatively, I could execute at a very high level. And I don't know that I've always felt that way. I mean, I know I haven't always felt that way because it took me a long time to get the balls to start writing a screenplay, because I always kind of talked myself out of it. Oh, it feels like such a big project. But I mean, after writing a 105,000 word manuscript, writing a screenplay feels like a cakewalk, honestly.
Wow. Yeah, that's big. We're closing out. I have to ask you this. And we'll just frame up the last year. Where have you softened in your life?
I have much more empathy for other people. For sure, without a doubt. I have a lot of empathy for other people. I think going through a lot of my own trials, particularly financial stress, I've realized how all-consuming it can be. And I have a lot more grace for people that are going through a hard time, and really more so becoming a dad.
Yeah.
I was telling my writing partner this yesterday. Since becoming a dad, I've found that I'm the target audience of a lot of sad movies. Like movies that used to I used to just think I would never relate to. I can watch them now through a father's eyes and like it hits me in ways that I never thought was possible. And so I have so much more empathy for people that are feeling lost, struggling to find their way, feeling capable, just the amount of fortitude that it takes to even raise a family while working a full-time job and trying to find peace in your life for yourself. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And I never would have understood that if I hadn't gone through what I've gone through, and just seeing what some fathers are willing to do to provide for their family.
Yeah.
Like the man that's up at 4 a.m. every day and doesn't get home till 8, and his hands are calloused and he's just busting his ass, and all he has to eat all day is a sandwich and a thermos of coffee. It's like, I see people doing that now, and I want to help them. But in the same sense, I know that what they're going through is it's part of the process. You almost have to go through it to reap the reward on the other side.
Yeah.
And so I have so much more empathy for just the human condition in that sense that I never had before, because, I struggled early in my 20s, but then I saw success very quickly. I went from living at home to living in a skyrise in New York with a doorman with more money than I knew how to spend in 4 years. I had a
It's a big deal in New York too. Like,
Oh,
fuck,
yeah.
man, you got money in New York, it's a whole different vibe.
Oh, I had
living
a
there.
washer and dryer in the unit.
Forget it.
I had 4 closets.
Oh, shut up.
I had floor-to-ceiling windows on the 42nd
Now
floor.
that's fucked up. Wow.
Yeah, like I had
Wow.
my star rose very quickly, and it went to my head in a lot of ways. But in a lot of ways, I was just so fucking proud of myself, because I would just sit there and I'd look out my window and be like, I'm doing this as a writer. Like, this is a writer's brain that got me here. And so in a lot of ways it was pride, but then it just became too comfortable, and I think I got kind of complacent, honestly. I feel like I got complacent in my career probably in 2020, 2021 as well.
Yeah.
I got complacent for a while just because I was so disillusioned by society. Like, what was happening at the time, I just got really negative.
Yeah.
And it made me just get complacent in my work. And it won't happen again. I've already dealt with it. I've seen what it can do, and it won't happen to me again. I'm going to be writing until the day I die. I'll kill over. I'm either going to get mauled by a bear, like my great grandfather was.
Oh, fuck, really? What?
Yeah, he was killed by a grizzly bear in Utah. No one talks about the grandpa that died in his sleep. You talk about the grandpa that was mauled by a bear. So I'm either going to go out getting mauled by a bear in a blaze of glory, or I will die writing something. Like, it's just something that I'm always going to do.
Well, so okay. I'm just framing what you just said. So for me, my conversations it's art, right? So I'm framing what you just said. I'm framing this whole conversation, and I'm going to end it sort of acting as if this is a bit of a time capsule for your son. What do you want to say to your son right now? If he could, let's just say 5 years, 10 years from now, whatever it is, he stumbles across this conversation.
I already wrote that book for him. That's why I started writing Memoir, honestly.
Yeah.
I had this idea of me, when my son was a year old, I was like, if I die, all my son's going to know of me is what people tell him, but largely what he finds online about me. And what is online about me is not the truth. It's not like the full story of my life. It's just what, has transpired in the last, 10 years.
Yeah.
He doesn't know anything prior to me being 27, 28. So that's why I started writing Memoir, was with the intention of him being able to read it someday and understand like what actually happened in my life, how I became who I am, why I felt the need to take on this moniker, and how hard I worked as a writer. And so I think the only thing that I would want my son to know about me is that I'm willing to die on a hill if I believe in something strongly enough. And I joke about it all the time, but I always tell people my integrity has cost me millions of dollars, and I know it has. I know if I didn't have so much integrity, I'd be in a much different place in life. But I wouldn't be proud of myself. And I think I used to tell people this. I remember telling my uncle this one time. I said, people can call me anything they want to in life. You can call me an asshole or a jerk or a piece of shit or whatever you want. You just can't call me a liar. And that's always how I've tried to live my life. Like, I don't care what you think of me as long as you know that when I come to the table, I bring the truth. And so I think if my son was to know anything about me, it's that I lived with integrity, and I made mistakes. A lot of people have disagreed with things I've done in my life, but I've always done at my core what I believe is right for me, regardless of the outcome. And I have definitely paid for those outcomes at times, but I can look back on my life and I don't feel like I've ever betrayed myself.
Fuck yeah. No, that you have no idea. The people who are dialed into me listening, they know. They're like, oh, this makes so much sense. Because that is the thing. So here's my quote. You can't make a wrong move when you make a true move. And those are the only moves that come from the heart. So true moves, heart moves.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that I've done that, even though it's been very painful at times.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I don't sell easy.
Yeah.
Ever. I don't know easy. And I'm not also selling a life of suffering, but a life that you can stand in self-respect with is that life where you've made true moves. I'm not saying every move is going to be the greatest thing that ever fucking happened to you at all, actually. You're going to take punches, but at least it was your genuine fucking decision.
Yeah, at least it was your move.
Exactly.
Yeah, at least no one else is moving the pieces.
Exactly.
Yeah. As long as you're moving your own pieces, I think that's the only way to live, honestly.
I agree with you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
I'm very honored to be possibly at the last. I don't believe it, but
I'm not gonna do any for a long time.
Okay, for a long time, fine.
I'm not.
But thank you.
I'm putting a hard rule unless it's someone I've always wanted to talk to. Mm-hmm. I'm putting a hard rule and I'm gonna go into the ether for a bit and just work.
Well, hopefully I allowed this end phase of this season at least to feel good and
it's a season for sure.
Okay. Good.
A long season. It's a season though.
I'm super grateful. Thank you so much. And thank you for the books. I'm excited to read, to watch what comes next through you and fucking cheering you on. Truly.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.